Hey everyone, this is Jacob here with Bargain Reviews, and today I'm bringing you your complete review of Solimo's Fruit Punch flavored pre-workout. I'll be going over a bit in this video, including how it tastes, what's in it, how it actually performs, and if you should buy it. This is a bargain brand item, being that Solimo is Amazon's kind of bargain brand, workout brand, and really they're trying to make a mark by selling this cheaper than anything else. And I'll tell you if it's kind of worth it. That being said, please remember, like, comment, subscribe. Subscribing means the world to me. Either way, let's get into the review. So, being that pre-workout mix typically is really varied between manufacturer to manufacturer. Some pre-workout mixes are loaded with caffeine. Some have very little, if any. Some have tons of vitamins. Some have tons of amino acids, so on and so forth. This is kind of your very standard pre-workout mix. It has 135 milligrams of caffeine, which really in the whole scheme of things is not all too much for pre-workout. Oftentimes they go well over 200, 250. I've seen over 300 for a single scoop. And that can really send you flying high, but you have to make sure not to take those really close to going to sleep because they will interrupt your sleep cycle. This, however, is a bit more mild, as I mentioned before. It does have other really well-known amino acids and also other ingredients such as creatine, arginine, citrulline, and it also has taurine, beta-alanine, so on and so forth. Things that are really associated with working out and endurance. Citrulline, for example, does help with endurance, arginine with blood flow, so on and so forth. Creatine, you've all heard of that. The only thing is that this has those in pretty small doses. So this is a 7.5 ounce container, which really is not all too much. You can typically get this for between $10 and $15 on Amazon, which for the price is actually pretty good. I mean, it gives you just enough where it might affect your workout positively, but it's not so much where it will be, where it just makes you have this extreme edge over everyone else. So, as I said before, it does have the 135 milligrams of caffeine, but interestingly here, between about 5 different ingredients, or 4 different ingredients, so you have beta-alanine, creatine, taurine, tyrosine, and choline bitartrate, my apologies. Between those 5 ingredients, you have a total of 3.7 grams. So if you're familiar with creatine, they often say minimum 5 grams of creatine. And that's considering if you weigh 180, 200 pounds, or a bit less even. Now, if you're a bit heavier, then you're going to typically want to have more than 5 grams of creatine. Now, where this is interesting, like I said before, is that between all 5 of those ingredients, you only have around 3.7 grams. So it's really, you're not getting a ton of creatine, you're not getting a ton of beta-alanine, taurine, you're not getting a ton of each individual thing. So that's something really that you want to watch out for with this. Additionally, there is arginine and there is citrulline. Those are really useful as well. However, as with the other ingredients, there's very little of each. So with the arginine, you're looking at, and this is between the arginine and citrulline, it's only about 1.1 grams. Typically, people have around 1 gram of arginine with a single pill, let alone mix. And so you're only getting around 1.1 grams. And if those are distributed evenly, you're getting just over a half gram of each. So it's not really all too much. That being said, you don't have to comply with the regular dosage. You can put in 2 scoops of this and then all of a sudden you're getting probably more of a standard workout. But this supplement really should be supplemented with other supplements. If you're going to have this and you do want to use creatine, you're going to want to use more creatine than is in here, so you're probably going to want to buy an actual thing of creatine and add it on to what you're getting in here. So while this is a good basic ingredient mix, it's not really all that great because it is lacking. There's not a ton of one thing or another. And for me personally, I feel like they would have benefited by putting maybe a little bit more caffeine in there. Step it up to 150 milligrams. Give it an extra 10 or so percent, even 175. It would help a bit, and also just make it bigger. I'd rather pay an extra $1 or $2 for this if I'm going to get a bit more creatine, a bit more arginine, That way I won't have to feel like, okay, my workout, my pre-workout is really dependent on the things that I supplement with it. Because this is a decent basic mix, but these things alone, if you just give yourself a half a gram of arginine, and that's with a full scoop of this, you're not going to be really effective. And especially for the creatine, this does the bare minimum for creatine supplementation. So again, you really, really need to add extra supplements with this supplement. So for the taste test, they do recommend adding a full scoop to a relatively small amount of cold water, about 6 ounces. So because I've already had a ton of caffeine today, and it is getting to be nighttime, I'm only going to have a half scoop with about a half of the amount of water. So this is around 3 or 4 ounces of water. They say for a full scoop, put it in around 6 or so ounces of water. So I'm going to add this in now. And it goes in real easy. It doesn't really stick all too much on the inside of the container here, which is really nice. You have some that really, as soon as they get exposed to any humidity, for example, they become almost like hard like a rock. I know citrulline, for example, at least the stuff that I have, does that. So as you can see, it mixes pretty well, pretty evenly. It's not at all, there's not really any free-floating particles in there, which is really nice. And it's not a very strong taste. It's not tart. It's very sweet. And one thing that you will notice is that if you're going for a pre-workout with actual taste, this doesn't have a ton of it. It's got good flavor. It's just not all that tasty, or it doesn't have all that much taste to it. So you're not going to be overwhelmed by this, and it almost kind of tastes like a background taste, kind of like a calorie-free flavored water that you might buy at the gas station. This kind of has that same vibe going on. So it's not really all too powerful again, but it's certainly pretty decent. And again, it mixes really well. You're not going to have much residue left over. Again, probably because the list of ingredients is so negligible. But this is, you could tell that it's kind of a bargain brand pre-workout just from the way it tastes. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just all right. Now, from my workout experience with this, I've had anywhere between a half scoop to a full scoop. And to be honest with you, I can't complain. It's not incredible. I actually used to be a big shopper of Nutri-Cost, and I still am for the most part. I'm not 100% on board with Solimo. However, this is pretty decent. This is probably one of the better brands that you can get if you're going to be working out at night. And the reason being is because it doesn't have a ton of caffeine. So you don't really have to, with other brands, as I mentioned before, I've had brands where it's around 300 milligrams of caffeine. That's an energy drink's worth of caffeine, one of the higher energy drinks worth of caffeine. And even if you have a half scoop of that, just so you can get the other ingredients, you're gonna be up all night. That's around 2.5 cups of coffee right there, 2 to 2.5 cups, depending on how strong it is. And no one would consider drinking that at night. However, if you have around a half scoop of this, a third of a scoop, you're dealing with around 50 to 60 grams or milligrams of caffeine, which really is not all too bad. It's reasonable. It'll get you going for a workout within around 15 minutes. It's not going to send you over the edge. And from my experience, it doesn't send me over the edge. As I mentioned before, I feel like I need to supplement with other supplements. This just does not do the trick. The creatine here is just not enough to really be all that useful. And especially because this is pre-workout, a lot of people say put in creatine after your workout. If you're using this beforehand and you only get around a gram of creatine, which again is not significant at all, guess what? You're not getting that post-workout creatine. So it is effective to a point, but again, as I mentioned before, it is noticeably bargain brand because of the ingredients, because of the size that you're getting, because of how kind of watered down it is. It's just not all that great. I would like to see an advanced version of Solimo. Like I said, I'd pay an extra $2, $3, $4 for it, bring it up to like $15 on average. I got this for around $11.25. Bring it up to around 15. I'd get it if it had a little bit more creatine, maybe it was a bigger size, just had better list of ingredients, a more thorough list of ingredients, and just was more I guess, rich in ingredients. So with maybe some BCAAs in there, with some more different types of amino acids, like workout chemicals, so on and so forth. If they could have that in here, even if it was a few dollars more, I'd probably go for it, and I think that'd be worth it. Now, insofar as where it is against other brands, other competitors, you know, as I said before, I was a big purchaser of NutriCost. I love NutriCost pre-workout. You know, they're more of the natural side of it, so they have a ton of vitamins, or at least they used to in their pre-workout, which I kind of prefer. But this, again, has some of those workout chemicals with arginine, citrulline, creatine, of course, taurine, and you know, there really depends on what you want. For what this is, it's a good deal. You may want to put 2 scoops in. You may want to put 1.5 scoops in so that you're getting more of the ingredients in here. But would I buy it again? Yes. But if I had free, just tons of money, I probably wouldn't consider this, just because, again, it is very lacking. So on a scale of 1 to 10, if you factor in the price, I'll give this a 7.5 or an 8. If you don't care about the price and you just look at this head-to-head against a bunch of other things, a bunch of other competitors, I might give it a 5. So the thing that really sets this apart, again, is the price. It's an Amazon brand thing. You get it with Amazon Prime. So it just will be sent to your home or apartment within 1 or 2 days. And there's a lot of benefits to it because it is Amazon. But I feel like if this was not an Amazon brand thing and they couldn't afford to make it this inexpensive, it would not be worth it. It just doesn't hold its own really all too well against other competitors. But for what it is, it gives you a decent boost within your workout. You're not going to be wanting, but if you have an extended workout, let's say 1.5 hours, 2.5 hours, you might want to get something else. This is not going to last you the whole time, or give it another scoop, get other supplements, because this does not do the trick. Either way, again, this is Jacob with Bargain Reviews. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It means the world to me. But that being said, I did start drinking some pre-workout, so I guess I kind of have to work out now. Again, thank you guys so much for watching my video, and I'll see you guys later. Take care, everyone.